Have you ever felt invisible, as if your words had no weight? And have you ever longed for the respect of others, but without being able to obtain it? In a world where appearance often prevails over essence, it is easy to feel lost and inadequate. What if the key to earning people's respect and admiration was hidden within you, in those small gestures and attitudes that we often underestimate? In this video, thanks to a Zen story steeped in Buddhist wisdom, you will discover that people don't respect you because of some of your attitudes. And if you stay until the end, you will discover how to gain the trust of others and how to build solid and lasting relationships. Prepare to embark on an extraordinary journey, a pilgrimage to the heart of Japan, where a venerable monk holds the secrets to building relationships in which you are respected. But before continuing, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so that you are informed when we publish new content for your spiritual growth. The first light of dawn crept between the majestic peaks of Mount Fuji, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. A light breeze, imbued with the intoxicating scent of blooming cherry blossoms, caressed Ayumi's face as she walked along the ancient stone path that led to Fuji Zen Monastery. Next to her walked Hiroshi, a man with a robust build and hands marked by work, but with a shadow of restlessness clouding his dark eyes. Ayumi, a young woman with a shy smile and amber eyes full of dreams, left her home village with a heart full of hope. He longed to find a sense of belonging and recognition, but he felt like a wave crashing on the beach, leaving no trace. Hiroshi, a skilled wood craftsman, had created works of extraordinary beauty, but his soul was tormented by a sense of inadequacy. Despite the recognition he received, he felt like a puppet in the hands of fate, unable to find his own voice and value. Once they reached the temple, an oasis of peace immersed in lush greenery, they were greeted by the melodious sound of a waterfall and the scent of incense burning in a small altar. In the center of the Zen garden, under the welcoming shade of a centuries-old maple tree, sat the venerable monk Haruki, his figure draped in a simple saffron robe. Her snow-white hair framed a weathered face, but her eyes shone with a deep, ancient wisdom. With a gentle gesture, Haruki invited Ayumi and Hiroshi to sit next to him on a carpet of moss as soft as velvet. Their souls, burdened by an invisible weight, yearned for the wisdom that the master promised. "Welcome," Haruki began in a calm, melodious voice. "Your journey has brought you here, to this sacred place, where the wind whispers the teachings of the ancients, and the rock holds the strength of the earth. Share your burdens with me so that I can help you find peace and serenity." Ayumi, with a trembling voice, stepped forward. "Master Haruki, I have always wanted to be appreciated for who I am, but I feel like a flower blooming in the shadows, invisible to the eyes of others. I can't find the respect I want, despite my efforts to be kind and helpful to everyone." Hiroshi in turn confessed his torment. "I too, Master, feel lost in a labyrinth of doubts. Despite my ability to create beauty, I feel empty and insignificant. The recognition I receive seems ephemeral, a distant echo that does not quench my thirst for authenticity." Haruki listened with deep empathy, his eyes reflecting the soft morning light. Then, with a delicate gesture, he picked up a maple leaf and held it in his hands. "Look at this leaf," he said. "It is fragile and delicate, yet it resists the elements, dancing with the wind. So are our attitudes. They can make us strong and flexible or fragile and vulnerable. And there are 7 attitudes in particular that can erode the respect others have for us, just as the autumn wind strips the trees of their leaves." With patience and wisdom, Haruki began to reveal the 7 attitudes, intertwining his words with stories and teachings that resonated in the souls of Ayumi and Hiroshi. The lack of authenticity is the first attitude I want to talk to you about. Once upon a time, a young samurai, eager for glory and recognition, presented himself in the presence of an elderly sword master. The master, after observing him for a long time, said, "Do not try to be what you are not. True strength lies in embracing your uniqueness. Just like a tree that sinks its roots into the earth and reaches out towards the sky without imitating the shape of other trees. Remember that the lack of authenticity is like a mask that hides our true nature, preventing us from building relationships based on trust and sincerity. Like a river that changes its course to please the rocks, we lose our essence and our strength." Victimhood is another harmful attitude that we should defeat, continued the monk, looking into the eyes of his guests. In a village devastated by a storm, a farmer despaired over the loss of his crop. But a wise man from the village said to him, "Don't cry over spilled milk. Instead, roll up your sleeves and sow again, because the land is still fertile and the sun will shine again." Victimism, my dears, is like a swamp that imprisons us in the mud of resignation. It's a weight that drags us down, preventing us from seeing the light that shines beyond the clouds. Let us learn to take responsibility for our lives, to transform adversities into opportunities, and we will discover the strength that lies within us. Not being assertive enough is another mistake we often make, said the monk, introducing another important aspect. A young woman, shy and insecure, did not dare express her opinions, fearing the judgment of others. One day, a friend said to her, "Your voice is a precious song. Don't suffocate it. Have the courage to make yourself heard, because your words can bring light to the world." Remember that a lack of assertiveness is like a caged bird, giving up the freedom to fly. This type of silence makes us invisible, a shadow that hides behind fear. Let us learn, therefore, to communicate with clarity and respect, to make our voice heard without fear, and we will discover the power that lies in our words. Another attitude that takes away our respect for others is that of feeling envy and jealousy. A talented artist, envious of a colleague's success, spent his days brooding over the injustice of fate instead of focusing on his own art. One day, a Zen master told him, "Envy is like a poison that corrodes the soul. Admire the beauty that others create and use it as inspiration for your art." Envy and jealousy are like thorns that prick our hearts, poisoning our joy and our creativity. Therefore, let us learn to rejoice in other people's successes, to see in them a reflection of our own light. And we will discover the beauty of sharing and mutual appreciation, emotions capable of making us feel good and earning us the respect of others. While the pilgrims listened with extreme attention to the words of their mentor, the monk continued speaking about judgment and criticism. A man accustomed to judging others harshly one day went to a Zen master to ask him for advice. The master handed him a mirror and said, "Before judging others, look carefully at your reflection. Every flaw you see in others is a reflection of something you have not yet accepted in yourself." Judgment is like a distorting mirror that only reflects our prejudices and fears. It is a wall that we build between ourselves and others, preventing us from seeing their true essence. Let us learn to look at others with compassion and understanding, and we will discover the beauty of diversity. Continuing with his lesson, Haruki addressed the topic of lack of integrity. A merchant, skilled in business but dishonest in his methods, amassed a fortune but lost the respect of his community, the monk recounted. One day, a wise old man said to him, "Your wealth is like sand that slips between your fingers." True wealth is integrity, which will accompany you even when all else is lost. Lack of integrity is like a crack in a precious vase, compromising its beauty and functionality. It's a lie we tell ourselves, a betrayal of ourselves and others. Let us learn to act with honesty and consistency, and we will build a rock-solid reputation. Arrogance and presumption are two other attitudes the monk spoke about. A young warrior, strong and skilled in combat, boasted of his superiority over others, said the monk. One day, a Zen master challenged him to a duel, but instead of using a sword, the master held a simple wooden stick. The warrior, blinded by his arrogance, was easily defeated, and the master said to him, "True strength does not lie in violence, but in humility and wisdom. Arrogance is like a tree that grows too quickly, without deep roots, destined to fall at the first breath of wind. It is a veil that prevents us from seeing our true nature and learning from others. Let us learn to recognize our limits and appreciate the qualities of others, and we will discover the true strength that comes from collaboration and mutual respect." The sun, now high in the sky, filtered through the leaves of the trees, creating a play of light and shadow in the Zen garden. Ayumi and Hiroshi, enraptured by Haruki's words, had forgotten time and space, immersed in an internal journey to discover themselves. "But how can we transform these negative attitudes, Master?" Ayumi asked in a small voice. "How can we free ourselves from the chains that prevent us from being respected and from respecting ourselves?" Haruki smiled, his eyes shining with a warm and welcoming light. "Transformation," he said, "is a gradual process that requires patience, perseverance, and a deep desire for change. It is not an easy path, but it is the only one that leads to true happiness and inner peace." Master Haruki continued, offering Ayumi and Hiroshi precious advice on how to cultivate authenticity, overcome victimhood, develop assertiveness, and again, on how to free ourselves from envy and jealousy, abandon judgment and criticism, embrace integrity, and cultivate humility. "Remember," concluded Haruki, "that respect is a precious seed that we must cultivate with kindness and dedication. It is not right, but a gift that we offer to ourselves and to others. When we learn to respect ourselves and others, we will discover true happiness and true inner peace." Ayumi and Hiroshi left Fuji Monastery with hearts full of gratitude and a new awareness. Their journey had just begun, but now they had a map, a compass, and the light of Haruki's wisdom to guide them towards a more authentic and fulfilling life.